life story of Roger and Darlene McCrum covers a span of 45 years of missionary service in Africa. It all began on the 14th of August 1973, when they were joined together in marriage. Immediately, the McCrums began raising their support to become church planters with Baptist International Missions. During their time of ministry in Africa, the Lord enabled the McCrums to help establish 4 churches. The first stop on their missionary venture was Ghana in West Africa, where they served 4 years. They found the Ghanaians to be very friendly and open to the gospel. Though many of their converts were not blessed in a materialistic way, they were generous in their giving. They gave of their meager income and they gave of their time. The house of the Lord became a priority, and their faithful commitment to the Lord produced rapid spiritual and numerical growth. On any given Saturday afternoon, half of the church family gathered together for visitation, and they saw souls come to Christ every week. Over the years, the Lord has called out many men to preach, and several sister churches have been established since the McCrums left Ghana. Their hearts were saddened when the Lord made it clear that they were to say goodbye to their people due to Roger having several bouts of malaria and finding it difficult to carry on. It was time to venture onward and seek God's next special place of service. After waiting on God for several months, the Lord made it crystal clear that He was calling them to South Africa, where they would spend the next 38 years. Their journey led them to a small town outside of Johannesburg called Croydon, where their stay would last 4 years. The work in Croydon had a slow beginning, as many thought they were a strange cult, having meetings in the garage and not a proper church building. However, one by one, God opened the hearts of their neighbors, and the church began to multiply. They soon began to give generously, and within 2 years, they had a beautiful church building. The attendance increased 30% overnight, as people knew Roger and Darlene were there to stay. They witnessed God calling out 7 pastors and missionaries during their short stay. Bill and Nina Meyer would become their first South African missionaries and would soon go with the McCrums to Somerset West. There they would work together to establish a work among the Cape Coloureds. Although their South African co-workers, Bill and Nina, were novices when it came to the ministry, they were encouraged to take the lead in this church plant, while Roger mentored them by remaining in the background. God blessed, and this strategy worked well. Within a few weeks, the home in which they were meeting had standing room only. After a couple of years, the Lord led Roger and Darlene back to Croydon, where they had laboured earlier. During their absence from the Macassar church under Bill's leadership, the work multiplied, and the Lord blessed with many becoming leaders equipped for the ministry. During his 30-year ministry in this location, Bill and his wife have planted and assisted in planting 4 indigenous churches. Hundreds of souls have been saved during this time, and these sister churches are all shepherded by South Africans, without the assistance of American missionaries or funds. They all have a vibrant missions program and have become a testimony for others to follow. In 1994, God led the McCrums to what would become their final church plant. The city of eMalahleni, home of Faith Baptist Church, was unique from all the others. It would become the first and only multicultural, multiracial church. On any given Sunday, at least 10 different language groups are present. One of the major areas of growth they have witnessed over the years is the breaking down of the walls of prejudice and racism. After several years of grounding in the Word, their believers have become one happy family. In the last couple of years, they have seen the Lord draw many hungry souls to the church in search of the truth. Nearly every Sunday, God sends first-time visitors, and many return as they receive a taste for wholesome spiritual food. Last year, their first missionary was ordained, Pastor Stembiso Mahlangu, and he is busy establishing his first church plant. God has called out other men who are also serious about the gospel ministry. The present building is bursting at the seams, and plans have now been drawn up to increase the size of the building to accommodate numerical growth. Primarily due to poor health, the McCrums have left their church planting days behind and have settled permanently in the States. They begin a new chapter by serving in their home church wherever needed at Faith Baptist, Fredericksburg, Virginia, under Pastor Kurt Skelly. This new chapter in their lives also enables them to spend quality time with their children and grandchildren. Over the past 14 years, Roger and Darlene have had the joy of serving with their son David and his family. The church plant in South Africa continues to move forward under David's leadership. In closing, Roger and Darlene would like to thank each one of their supporters for their faithful investment in hundreds of lives for eternity.